I'm going to share with you some amazing animal stories, and I promise you, they will amaze you. For over 2 decades, I've been an animal communicator, and I've talked with thousands of animals. I've personally seen and experienced some incredible things with them. With their humans' permission, I will be sharing my animal clients' inspiring stories of how we healed them back to health, cured them of unwanted behaviors, and helped make their lives with their people even better. These are amazing animal stories.
And there she is over there. She's shaking her head. I'm not quite sure what that meant, but
I'll tell you after the broadcast. We're good.
All righty then.
Happy Memorial Day weekend.
It is indeed. It is indeed. It's Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and I hope that you're well. We do this every Saturday at 2 o'clock. You can go to CoryelleKramer.com and find out all the information you want to know about her. And today we're going to talk about animals again.
Yeah, we always talk about animals.
So we're going to talk about a personal connection to an animal.
We are. We're going to talk about my own ginger boy. And his name is Tah-oo, which is a dialect in African meaning lion. Interesting. He's an interesting character. He really did help me develop the animal dynamics. And not only that, he helped me develop other techniques that I use with my own clients now called Charka Touches. And I'll go more into that and what they are. But, you know, I want people to understand that just because I'm an animal communicator doesn't mean that everything's rosy, happy, joyful, and free all the time, unicorn, rainbows, and leprechauns, okay? I have my own issues, you know, with animals. And Tah-oo is an interesting character, and he really, really does describe what things that animal communicators go through with their own animals. And also he really does describe the different dynamics really well. And then we're going to show a movie later, which is going to show basically my first day developing these Charka Touches and what they can do. So, I mean, just because I'm an animal communicator doesn't mean that I don't go through my own stuff. You know, we all go through stuff with our animals. So let me give you a little background on him. So basically what it was, I was living upstate New York, and it was a really snowy day and in December, and in upstate New York, which is, you know, it's no joke when I say snowy. And all of a sudden I'm laying in my bed, and my bed was looking at a window that was on very quiet dirt road. And all of a sudden I see something out of the corner of my eye, and it's this flash of orange. And I was like, what is that? And I go and I look, and I see this little ginger guy, probably about 1 year old. You know, he wasn't little, but he was little, you know, walking up the road. And I was like, there's no houses down below. There's the main road, you know, a 2-lane road. So I was like, where did he come from? I don't get it. And I looked at him and I said, man, you better do something, because he's going up the road and God knows what's going to happen to him. So I open up the window and I say, hey, little boy, what's going on? And he looks at me and he makes a beeline. He stops dead and he makes a beeline for the house. And I go to the front door and he's just sitting there. He's sitting there, and it looks like he literally unpacked his bags and was like, I'm home. And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm not looking for another cat. At the time I had 2. I had Sammy and I have Sacred. And I was like, I'm good. You know, those 2 get along. I don't need to add anything to the mix. Okay, I really don't. So I open up the door, and I literally, this cat comes beelining into the house and just looks around and says, yeah, this looks good to me. I can handle this. This is great. Boop. And I literally see him drop his bags. He's there. Hello. And there you are. He was very intense. So Kevin, if you can show that first photograph, this is him when this is the first day that I found him. I took this photograph of him so I could make a flyer, and post it. And I did. I posted all around the little town I was in. I posted in the big towns I was in. And he's extremely intense, extremely present, as you can see. It's no joke with him. He's like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? He's like kind of like the relative that comes to stay for a night and stays for, forever, and, I've had my previous ginger, Socrates. I had a very, very interesting life with him, and I learned a lot of lessons from him, but I really never felt drawn to get another ginger. I really didn't. And so what it was that very intense from the get-go, very demanding, very like, I want this, I want it when I want it, here we go. So my relationship with Tah-oo in the beginning, and I didn't call him Tah-oo, I just called him little boy, pretty boy, because I didn't know what to call him and I didn't want to get attached to him, was very out of the gate, very loud, very demanding, very tumultuous, very challenging. Okay, you got to understand, my two cats, Sammy, laid back, chill, a powerful being, but without really having to like demand stuff from me. Sacred, mellow, chilled out, relaxed, and I like that. I, especially after having my ginger boy before him, Socrates, we had a lot of, he was always arguing with my other cat, and he always seemed very sad, and it was a lot of work with Socrates. And if you want to read more about Socrates, you can go onto my website, CoryelleKramer.com. You can read about him. He taught me a very strong lesson. And the strong lesson I got from him was, really it has to feel right from the jump. If it doesn't feel right from the jump, it's not right. So that's why, I wanted to find him his home. I wanted to get him a home. I wanted to help him because he didn't really feel like mine. So what it was that, Tah-oo and I eventually put up the flyers. Nobody bit. Nobody contacted me. And I was like, something, do I really want to bring him to the shelter? It didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. So I held on to him for a while, hoping maybe I could find him his true forever home, not knowing, unbeknownst to me, I was his forever home. So what it was from the jump is Tah-oo was extremely manic, very demanding. He would wake me up, not a good idea, at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, demanding food, wanting to go out, wanting attention, constantly needing attention. It was very challenging, and he's extremely smart. I've talked about this in other shows. Tah-oo is extremely smart. He can figure stuff out. So what he figured out very early on is I sleep with earplugs in, because I'm a very sensitive sleeper. So what he figured out was him standing by the bed and meowing wasn't doing the trick quick enough. So what he figured out was if he clawed at the bed, it would go through the box spring, go through the mattress, go through the pillow, and into the earplugs and into my head. So he would get me up. I would be very grumpy. I'm not the nicest person at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a really early riser, come on, let's get the day going. I'm like, we can get the day going at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm good with that. But he wouldn't listen to me. I would talk to him and ask him and beg him. And he would keep on pushing me and keep on pushing me and keep on pushing me. And, any relationship that you're in, no matter if it's a person or an animal, it can be very tiring when you're in a relationship with someone who's constantly pushing you, constantly pushing you. So our first few years, I really questioned myself. Meaning, I was wondering if I was really a good animal communicator, because I would ask him to stop, to please, let's compromise, let's find a way to work through this. And he wouldn't listen. He just kept pushing. He just kept pushing and challenging me. And so I appreciated him and I loved him as a fellow being, but I wasn't in love with him. I wasn't in love with him like I was with Sammy. Sammy got me through some really challenging times, like the death of my mother and going through that. And Sacred came, at the tail end of that, no pun intended. And she was funny and quirky and, cool and just, he was just like, he felt like he was out of place in my life. So we went on like this for a long time. I moved to New Mexico. And, I thought maybe, with age, he would mellow out. And he didn't. He seemed to almost rev up even more. So what happened was that I started to really, and I'm being honest, I liked him. I didn't love him. It just was not something that felt like it felt like, oh my God, another orange ginger who's gonna just, bring a lot of like chaos to my life. Do I really want to do this? And there were times, I'm gonna be honest, there were times that he tested me so much constantly that I was like, I swear to God, I'm going to take him to the shelter. I can't, of course, no kill shelter, but still a shelter, because I was just so exhausted by this relationship. So what started happening was I started questioning and started asking myself, is this right? Constantly. He doesn't feel like my cat. What am I going to do? How am I going to get him out of my life? I would ask people if they wanted to take him because they thought he was amazing. And I was like, well, you're seeing something I'm not really seeing. So maybe he's your boy, but that would never come through. So cut to a few years later, I was living in New Mexico. It was probably about 5 years into being into New Mexico when I moved there in 2015. And I started doing a class or a certification program that made me start to understand and start to get the framework together of what I was going to use for the animal dynamics. I didn't know what they were called at the time. I didn't really know what they were at the time. But when I got this information really coming down to me after an event I took in Boulder, Colorado, I had this incredible epiphany of how I could apply these personality archetypes to animals. And it really started blowing my mind. And what I started to see was of course, I'm not going to use, other people's animals as guinea pigs. I'm going to use my own boy. And I started to see the first two dynamics really in him. and I started to apply them in my own life. And what started happening was, I mean, I started to understand him. I started to get to a point where I was like, he's not doing this to make me crazy. I really did think he was doing this to make me crazy. He's doing this because it's his personality. And when I got to that point, I realized, and I came to this piece of saying, I'm trying to change his essence, the essence of truly who he is. And what right do I have to do that? It would be somebody trying to change your personality or me trying to change another person's personality. It's not fair. It's saying you're broken. You're not right. You don't fit in. And when I started to really apply the animal dynamics to my own relationship with Tah-oo, the relationship got better. I stopped trying to change who he was, and I started to really accept who he is. And when I did that, I got to this place of peace in our relationship. I started to understand when he starts acting the way he does, not to take it personally. It's not about me. It's just who he is, if that makes any sense. So the first two dynamics that really came into play for me was the direct and demanding one and the rule breaker. So the direct and demanding one of the traits of the direct and demanding one, and there are many, is they can challenge you. They want to, they're very type A animals. They're not laid back. They're not chill. They're not omegas. They're usually betas or they're alphas. So they're very type A animals. I'm not really a type A person, So it's like I understood, but I could understand, okay, I'm not that kind of personality, but I can still appreciate him for who he is. So the direct and demanding, there's also the other trait is they want what they want when they want it, and they want it when they want it. That could be at 2:00, 3:00, 4:00 in the morning, doesn't matter. When he wants to get fed, he gets fed. He would follow me around in the mornings when I would get up, not at 4:00, 3:00 in the morning. 4:00 in the morning, I would feed him, throw down the, half eyes open, throw down the food, throw it down, and go back to bed. And I knew that I would be good for another few hours. So what happened is that but in the mornings, he would follow me around, asking for dry food, asking for wet food, asking for dry food again, asking for wet food again. It got to the point, and he's an indoor-outdoor cat. So what I would do is I would have to literally push him out the door just to get 5 minutes peace so I could get my coffee, have my coffee. I'm happy with my coffee, so, but I always applied that dynamic. He's a direct and demanding one. That's who he is. He's also a rule breaker, and a rule breaker is extremely smart. They're kind of like the MacGyver of the dynamics. So they'll figure stuff out. So if you show the other image, this is him to a T. This is the direct and demanding rule breaker. He's up in a tree. He's not going to wait on the ground for any birds to come around. He's going to be up in the tree with the birds. All right. It's a perfect, icon of what a rule breaker is all about. What a rule breaker is they're the innovator, excuse me. So they're constantly thinking, how do things work? So things like puzzles, tree puzzles are great for rule breaker. But like I said before, what he did was he figured out that if he scratched at the box spring, it would go through the box spring, through the mattress, through the pillow, through the earplugs, into my head, and I would hear him. He also figured out ways to get my attention. If I'm on the computer, I'm very focused on the computer. So what he would do is he figured out how to open up the cabinet doors. He would open up the cabinet door, let it snap back. Open up the cabinet door, let it snap back, which would always get me getting up from the computer, going into the kitchen and finding out what he needed. They're very, very smart. And so what it was that when I started to apply the dynamics, I really started to understand him on a very core level. And I got to the point where I actually appreciated his ingenuity, how smart he was, how intelligent he was, how friendly he was. The rule breaker and the direct and demanding ones are extremely friendly. They're everybody's buddy. He would go and make sure everybody was okay in the compound and make sure everybody's fine. Everybody got to know him. Hey, Tah-oo, how you doing? So it made me, the dynamics gave me the gift of appreciating and loving my animal in ways that I couldn't do before. How to interact with him. I started understanding that he needed to be challenged. He needed things like treat puzzles. He needed things like, different ways of playing with a toy. Like as opposed to just like taking a streamer toy and just playing with the streamer toy, I would attach other toys, like mice, and I would tie it to the streamer. So he would get that, oh, this is a brand new toy kind of thing. So I'm constantly, that's the other thing about the rule breaker. They constantly challenge you to think outside the box. So I really got a sense from him. He taught me the animal dynamics, and I started to really see the other dynamics. Like my girl Sacred is a sensory. She's very much a sensory. She's very sensitive. She's empathic. She doesn't like strife. She doesn't like conflict. She likes mellow, chill, relax, So I was able to start to see from him, I start to see the animal dynamics in my other animal and my other animals, which Sammy was alive at the time. So I saw him as the transcendent and also energetic. So what started happening was then he made me, this little ginger boy, made me start to open up my eyes and start to see these dynamics in my clients' animals. And start through him, I was able to then apply them to my clients' animals. And it transformed my clients' relationship with their animals. It brought it to a totally different level. People I understand my animal on a totally different sphere of consciousness. I didn't understand them. I understood them. I love them. But this is a total game changer. So from this little ginger boy who I was constantly questioning, does he need to be in my life? Am I the person for him? Is this his forever home? I got this sense of appreciation for who he is at his core, an understanding for who he is as a being, this really beautiful, wonderful unfolding of our relationship now, and almost like this level of peace where I feel like, okay, I can get him. I can understand him, if that makes any sense.
Sure. By the way, I wanted to ask you how, when you brought Tah-oo home, or he moved in, how did the other cats deal with him?
At first, Tah-oo is very hard to say no to. Okay, he's very friendly. He's very sweet. He'll rub his head against you. He'll butt his head into your mouth and want you to kiss him. I'll show you the last photograph will show you pretty much what he's all about. He's very loving. People who come to my house, he's very loving to them. He understands them. He gets them. If he feels like they need a little bit of extra loving, he'll pour it on a little bit more. So my other cats, the first 2 days, they were like, ugh, no, this is not going to work. And then after 2 days, he won them over.
Oh, good.
So they were loving to him. In fact, the relationship that he had with Sammy was unlike any relationship I've ever had with 2 other cats before. They would tussle. They wouldn't fight, they would tussle. And they loved tussling. They would have their tussle time in the morning, their tussle time in the night. There were pictures of them. I have thousands of pictures of them just cuddled, snoodled, and cuddled up to one another, where they're literally, their paws and arms around each other, just holding each other close. I mean, I had never seen this before. I had never experienced this before with any other animals in my life. These 2 loved each other on a level that was unprecedented in my life.
Wow. Well, that's good.
Yeah. It was really, really cool. And I see that in the first few months after Sammy transitioned, Tah-oo was kind of lost. He needed that. Sammy was his Samwise was his buddy, his go-to. He was his alpha. And when we lost Sammy, Tah-oo for a few months was just totally like, I don't know what to do. I mean, this is when I knew he was suffering mentally, because he wasn't the same direct and demanding rule breaker like he was, which is another thing that you can do with the animal dynamics. Once you get your animal to their core, you can apply them to maybe when they're having a difficult time mentally, emotionally, because they're not the same. He wasn't the same. He was lost. He would just sit in the middle of the room and just like not know what to do next, usually during the times that him and Sammy would tussle. So it took him a while, and he's doing much better. He's stepped into the role of the alpha. He tries to tussle with Sacred, which is interesting because Sacred's like, hey! She's a real girly cat. So she's like, hey! It's cute. It's really cute. But he's also making her step up a little bit more and become a little bit more independent and self-sustaining and stronger and things like that there. So it's pretty interesting. That's pretty awesome. So what started happening around about the same time, probably in, I believe, 2021. So 2020, 2021. I, just like with the animal dynamics, I got this massive information coming in. It just pours into me. I don't know how to describe it other than a download. It just comes down and loads into me, and I get this information that 5 seconds before was not there, and then 5 seconds later is all there. I started getting the idea of something called Charka Touches. The Charka Touches are different ways that you can literally touch the body at the different 7 chakras of the body that will align that chakra almost instantaneously and help to alleviate unwanted behaviors, health issues, emotional problems. So I utilize that with some of my clients. And what it is that I tune into the chakra and I find what kind of pattern works. There might be a figure 8. It might be a spiral. It might be a circle. It might be, concentric circles going up from the third eye, going up to the crown chakra and back again, always in clockwise motion. But I started doing these on Tah-oo and Sacred because I wanted to see, And I got this information that this was going to help calm him down. Again, not changing him and his dynamic, direct and demanding rule breaker. I didn't want to change it. But it seemed like at certain times during the day, usually 3 o'clock in the morning and usually in the evenings, he would be ramped up. Something would ramp him up. So what I wanted to do, and it seemed like what it was doing was this ramping him up was throwing his dynamics into the minus spectrum. So that's why he was experiencing the need, the overwhelming drive to, demand what he needed when he wanted it, It seemed like he was tweaked too high. So I said, okay, let me try it on my own animals before I try it on any of my clients' animals, of course. So I started doing them. And the movie that we're going to show in a second is going to show you the first day after I started applying the Charka Touches. And what I did was I got a sense that there were 2 touches that I needed to do on Tah-oo. The first touch was the root chakra. I needed to kind of like loosen up his root chakra. When the root chakra is too cemented, you're too stuck in your ways. It's what you got. It's what your way or the highway. So if you're not if you're too grounded, you're too stuck in your ways. And then the other one that I got that I wanted to do his, I believe it was his second chakra. His second chakra, the second chakra for anybody, and that's where the belly button is about desire, want, wanting to get what you want. And I felt like when I tuned into it empathically, both of them, the root chakra felt very stuck. The second chakra, the sacral chakra, felt like it was almost too fast. It was spinning out of control. So what I did was I got that, not only did I get the information about the chakras, but I also got the patterns to use because I didn't use the same patterns. So for his root chakra, what I did was, and the root chakra is from the base of the tail is at the base of the tail. So what I did was I got that I needed to kind of like just slowly just take my fingers from the top of the tail, behind the tail, in front of the tail, excuse me, and going down to the top of his legs, down his thighs, just gently relaxing. So I did that a little bit. I also got that you don't do the chakras, the Charka Touches very much. You don't need a lot. I got 3 times for that. So I did him on his root chakra 3 times, going down to the bottoms of his thighs. And then what I got for his sacral chakra, his second chakra, was I got just a clockwise pattern. So starting at 12 and with 2 fingers, not 1, 2. So I got 2. I don't know why. It's just I get different fingers. I get different patterns. It's just the way it is. It's whatever that chakra needs. And I started at 12, going back to 12 in 1 second intervals. 1, 2, 3. And I left it alone. That's all I did. Now, what you have to understand is before we show this video, what I want to let you know is this. This was his usual way of acting. This is the way that he acted for, at this time, let's see, 2015, 16, 17. So at this time, I had him for 5 years in my life. Okay, 5 years. Every single day, without fail, this was his routine. Anywhere between 3 to 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning, once, either 3, 4, or 5, he would wake me up by scratching at the box spring, which would go through the box spring, through the mattress, through the pillow, through the earplugs into my ear. I would wake up, usually cursing. I'm not going to lie. Okay. I'm telling you, you do not want to wake me up, especially he would usually get me when I'm in REM sleep, REM sleep. And that's really deep. So he would pull me out of a dream, usually a really nice dream, pull me out of a dream, wake me up to this noise. And I would realize, and I would be cranky. I'm cranky at this time. I don't know anybody who's not. If you're not cranky, then God bless you. Okay. I am. All right. So I would go, usually with one eye closed, one eye half open. I would go, stumble, open, turn on the lights, go into the kitchen, slap some food on a plate, throw it down, and go back to sleep to try to get back to sleep, which sometimes was a crapshoot. So sometimes I would be up for another like 30, 40 minutes, which is, not a lot of fun, especially when you're tired. Okay. Because I work a lot. So I work usually late at night with my clients because I have clients all over the world. So, I'm going to sleep late. I'm waking up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Not a good thing. Takes me a while. And then I'm up at 8 o'clock, 8:30 anyway. So it's exhausting. It's so tiring. So I would go back to sleep. Boom. Then he would come in, or he would go out the cat door, go outside and play around, do what he needs to do, come back and sleep, whatever. Okay. Then by the time that I really got up, I would come into the kitchen, try to have make my breakfast, have my coffee, which I sorely needed. Okay. And he would be on me like stank on a skunk, meaning he would be meowing constantly. So I would have to put down the wet food. Then he wants the dry food after the wet food. Then he wants another third breakfast. He's like a hobbit. Okay. He's got like third, fourth, fifth breakfasts. Okay. And there's no turning him off. I tried. Okay. I've tried to the point where I was literally really losing my mind. I really was. I was getting so frustrated. It made me question myself as an animal communicator. So finally, what I would have to do is I would have to give him a timeout, push him out the door. Just give me 5 minutes. Let me have my coffee. Let me get relaxed. And let me do hopefully my meditation. Let me shove my meditation in there somewhere. Okay. So, and then I would get back to work on my computer. So it was a lot. I mean, can you imagine? You can take off the image, Kevin, but can you imagine? I mean, that's constant. This is, 5 years, constant, every single day, weekends, holidays, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa. Didn't matter. That boy was never off. Constant. Go, 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 go. So the animal dynamics helped me to understand him, but it didn't help me calm him down and stop the behavior. Right? So then cut to the chakra touches. So I did them the night before. I did the second chakra, and I did the root chakra touch. Again, touching the root chakra from the base of the tail all the way down to the bottom of his thighs, kind of like in a U. Okay. Second chakra, 2 fingers going every 1 second intervals. 1, 2, 3. Leave it alone. Okay. I figured, what is it going to hurt? Okay. What is it going to hurt? And again, you have to understand, he was constantly walking with me. Always, never standing, sitting still, unless I pushed him out the door in the morning. So this video that we're going to show you, is the first day after the night that I did the touches the night before. Okay. It is something that really does show how these chakra touches are, because you've got to understand, again, this boy was a constant go, go, go from the time that I woke up to the time that I pushed him out the door. He would not calm down until the early afternoon. And then he would usually go to sleep in his cat tree or something else like that there. So you can show the video. He's been like this. This is day one observation number one. He's been like this for the last 15 minutes now. And what you have to understand is his usual thing is to follow me around, follow me around, follow me around, follow me around, manically ask for food, follow me around until I have to throw him out the door. This is highly unusual. And this is after giving him the touches. Hi, baby. Giving him the touches around... Oh, I came back in around... Let's say around 7 o'clock this morning. And now it's 10:07. That was the calmest he's ever been. Ever. In 5 years. And this was after I gave him the touches. I gave him the touches the night before, and I gave it to him also at 7 o'clock, around 7 o'clock that morning. And he was calm that evening. I didn't take a movie of that, but he was calm. That was unprecedented. He had never been that calm before, ever, ever. And I realized I was onto something. And I realized that it was powerful, because the beauty of the chakra touches is I customize them for each animal and each animal's chakra. They're all different. But also I'm able to show my clients how to instantaneously heal their animals or help their animals emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever. Okay. And they've been, again, a total and complete game changer. And I've really never shared about the chakra touches a lot, very much on these previous videos. But it was a game changer. What happened with Sacred, and I'll share about her probably at a later show, but what happened with her was she used to be scaredy pants. I mean, scaredy pants. She would, flinch at every noise. And when I started doing the chakra touches on her in her different chakras, what happened with her was she became stronger. She became less scared. She became more independent. She became more, fearless. And it was incredible. But the first animal I did it on was him. And when I noticed and saw those dramatic changes, and again, I only did it 3 or 4 times. That's it. I didn't sit there for hours on end doing the chakra touches on him. Less is more with them. And I saw that. I realized I had something. So what happened was that the animal dynamics, he started giving me the animal dynamics to a certain extent. And then he also helped to bring the chakra touches into my life and into my life and the lives of my clients. So, and I saw when I married those two things, our relationship got even better. I understand him now. I know when he needs tweaking with his chakras, not to change his personality, but to help him calm and relax and ground emotionally. It changed everything. Everything. I love this boy now. It took me a while. I'm being honest. I really am. Would I like to say, I loved him from the second I saw him and it was love at first sight? I would love to say that, but that's not the truth. And I'm not a dishonest person. I'm honest. I did not like this animal. Okay. It took me a while because he was constantly challenging me. But the chakra touches, along with the animal dynamics, gave me this animal and brought this animal into my life in ways that I never could have had before.
Maybe that's why when he was just short of a year old, that you found him wandering down the street, because his previous owner probably gave up on him too.
Probably. It doesn't, it wouldn't surprise me. He was very, very challenging. Loving, yes, but challenging and pushing, yes, absolutely. And, now Tao and I mean, you could show the photograph, the last one, the Tao and I, he's in my face. He gives me kisses every single day. He understands when I'm ungrounded and comes and sits on my lap and wants me to kiss his head, usually anywhere between 12 to 17 times. Okay, I need to kiss his head. And that grounds me. It helps me. It makes me feel better. And, we have this wonderful, wonderful relationship. I get him now. I understand him now. I see him. I hear him. I use the dynamics with the words I use when I call him special words. I use the touches for the animal dynamics. I use the chakra touches and techniques. I get him, and I can then explain him to other people. So when my friends come over, I said, I have this really amazing, beautiful ginger boy, and he's going to understand you and understand if you need his love, whether you want it or not, or whether you think you want it or not. And he's going to be in your face. And people think he's amazing. They think he's incredible. And he is. He's the sweetest little boy in the world. And that's what the animal dynamics gave me, is that on top of everything else, on top of helping my clients, on top of helping people understand animals and hopefully changing this world to make it a better place, it gave me this boy in my life who is this joy. And, there's no price I can put on that. So that's why I wanted to talk about him today, because he's such a powerful example of how he changed somebody who was a animal communicator for, well on, almost 2 decades, and how he changed my life and made me a better animal communicator and a better person, but how he absolutely enabled me to transform our relationship. So
Well, that kitty loves you.
he does love me. He does. He's a very, very special boy. I wouldn't, I understand why he's in my life now. I do. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if the animal dynamics would be what the animal dynamics are today. I don't know if the chakra touches would be what the chakra touches are today. I don't know. I don't know if I would be the same person I am today. I probably wouldn't be. But, so the animal dynamics are, there's such a powerful way for you to transform your relationship with your animal. And what better way to show that than through this show, where I can show you how it transformed my relationship with my animal. But also now you can apply it to the animals you bring into your life. You can understand, if I knew right off the bat that Tah-oo's personality was the direct and demanding rule breaker, I would have been able to accept him sooner. I would have saved myself a lot of stress and a lot of questioning and a lot of heartache. But I didn't. It happened when it was supposed to happen. I totally and completely understand that. But now you can apply it to the animals you bring into your life. You can understand who they are, because the animal dynamics are now 7 personality archetypes: the direct and demanding, the rule breaker, the energetic, the shifter, which is a little bit about everything. Okay. The sensory, the transcendent, and the visionary. There's 7 of them. Okay. But it started with this boy. It started with him. And I cannot thank this animal enough for what he brought into my life and still brings into my life.
Does he still bring 3:00 in the morning that you're waking up?
He's
Or
much better. He lets me, sometimes he lets me sleep until 8:30. We wake up together. If I get a sense that he needs the chakra touches, I do, but I do not have to do them on a daily basis. That's the beauty of them. Less is more. You do it, you leave them alone. And usually, because it aligns the chakras instantaneously, you don't have to do it a lot. You don't have to do it every single day. You do it once. Sometimes it's a one and done. That's it. That's all you need. These are incredible techniques that I've developed. I mean, they're and it's not just me. I've applied it to several of my amazing animals. My clients. And, all with some amazing, results, like Sydney and Bama, one of the first stories I talked about, that you can look back and look on that. I applied Charka Touches to Sydney and Bama. I applied Charka Touches to Nickel and Dime, those animals that were going through separation anxiety and a severe stress. I was applying it to them. I applied it to horses. I've applied it to geckos. I applied it to mice, to guinea pigs. They've all had incredible results.
You have friends that have a mouse as a pet?
Yes. I don't have friends. I have clients.
Clients.
Guinea pigs. Yeah. Geckos. Yeah. Lizards. Yeah. Other lizards, Yeah. Horses. Yes.
Well, the horse I get. The lizard, I'm afraid I don't. But that's just me. So what do you do?
But they work. They work. They
yes,
work.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's cool. Because that cat now, he's 8 now, and he's doing a lot better, and he's going to be with you for a very long time.
He is. He is. He's my boy. I know him. I get him. I understand him. He's not going anywhere. It's just that I wasn't sure. I didn't know what to do. It didn't feel like it felt like we were going like this. We were clashing. We weren't meshing. And now we mesh. We come together, and he makes me laugh, and he's he's just this loving, awesome being that I would not change, for anything, or anyone, and that's what the dynamics can do. They can make you bring your relationship with your animal into the stratosphere that you didn't even know was there before. You didn't even know was there. And that's why I wanted to do this story on Tah-oo, because if I can change my relationship, and I'm a professional animal communicator, if I can change my relationship with my animal, so can anybody. I can show anybody how to do it.
We just have to figure out how to wake you up at 3:00 in the morning.
No.
That doesn't seem to be going well.
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And it's never going to. It's not, it's not, I'm not that kind of person. I'm just not, some people are. God bless you if you are, the people that are like, oh, I got to get up at 5:00. I'm up at 5. Great. If that works for you, fabulous. I will see you in 3 more hours.
Well, very good. Very good. So go to CorylleKramer.com, and you can find out all the information you need to about her, and you can fill out a form and then she'll talk to you about working together.
Yeah.
A lot of these things, they're not a one-off. It takes time, but it can help you and it can help your animal. So it's cool, and you can just see the look on that. He just loves his mommy.
Yeah, he does. And he's really good with a lot of people. I mean, he's like a therapist. If I could take him to like a hospital, which I'm not going to do now with COVID, he's an awesome animal. I mean, I could take him and he would be an awesome therapy animal. I think he really does. He makes people laugh. He makes people smile. There's not one person in this compound that doesn't know him, and he goes out and greets them, sees how they're doing, wants to go into their truck and see what their truck's all about, what's in the truck, what's in the car. I'm worried that one day he's going to get kidnapped, but he's just this really loving, beautiful soul and spirit. And what he wants is he really wants to make people happy. He really does. And he wants to help in any way, shape, or form that he possibly can. And he also wants his 4 breakfasts, but he's calmed down a lot more. Now we're down to 2. That's big. I'll
What does
take
he have
what I
two
can get.
lunches and does he have 2 lunches and 2 dinners too? Or does he just like to start his day off with a full belly because so he'll have energy?
No,
So
he likes he likes his 2 dinners. No, 2 lunches, 2 dinners.
ah,
I'm telling you, he's a hobbit. The hobbits always talk. If you go to Lord of the Rings, they're always talking about the hobbits are always talking about
first
yeah,
breakfast and second breakfast, first lunch, second
what
lunch.
about third breakfast?
Yes, that's right. That's why Sam always had a pot everywhere he went.
That's right. That's
So,
true, which is what my cat Sam was called after, Samwise. Samwise Gamgees.
oh, very nice, very nice,
Oh,
very nice.
but yeah, that's the I think that is pretty much the story of Tah-oo, my tumultuous relationship with him that's now transformed into something really incredible and really loving. So I was happy to bring that to you all. I hope you enjoyed it.
I'm sure everybody did. And if anybody has any comments, you're always welcome to put a comment in if you have a question or a thought or something like that that you would like. Is there anything else you'd like to say, my dear, before we wrap up this episode?
I think the show speaks for itself. And if anybody has any questions or anything, you can find me on Facebook, or my website is Coryelle Kramer with a K.com. Just, if you're having a hard time with your animal, contact me. I really can. I understand. There's no judgment. I came on the show real and honest, you know, about my own animal, so I get it. I understand. If you're having a problem with your animal, let me know. Contact me.
And I think Leslie was working in the yard listening to the show. At least she was last week. So Leslie, it's great for you to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody, it is Memorial Weekend. Have a quiet moment for all the people that we're honoring this weekend that have given the ultimate sacrifice in all of the wars that we've had and stuff like that. Oh, I made Leslie laugh. Ha 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 ha. So there. Anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful time. Enjoy yourselves and be nice to each other. That would be really cool. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.